All right, everybody. I think we are going. One sec. Perfect. Make sure my. Okay, everybody. Today I'm doing something a little bit different with She's Backstage. Normally we are kind of filming a backstage video that we're doing for She's in Business TV. So you can see kind of how it goes from start to finish. But I have a lot of people who are stuck on funnel builds and websites. So what I want to do today is go over some basic funnel types, kind of what they are, but then show you in the platform how you can learn to start building them. I'm also planning to start running I'm still planning out how we're going to execute on them so it works for everybody. But what I want to do is kind of like live hands-on workshops where you can sign up, you can join me in Zoom, and we literally build out a funnel type or an offer type or whatever it is in the platform together. So you'll follow along with me, you'll build whatever we're building alongside, but you can also ask questions. If you get stuck in that moment, you can screen share and I can help you. I kind of want them to be like little sprint challenges. So okay, we have 4 hours to build this asset or this thing. We're going to do it together. So that way, especially if you're a beginner, you can have some hand holding, but you can also learn how to do some of this stuff. We're trying to take as much off of your plate as possible in terms of the tech. So we're currently figuring out how we better onboard and migrate people over and how we can support you on that. But there are some things, especially if you're on your own, you kind of need to learn how to do. You do need to learn how to build a basic funnel, even if it's not pretty at the beginning. Like you need to know how to do that. You need to know how to use your CRM. There's certain things that you do need to learn on the tech end. So I think it would be helpful if I'm holding people's hands as we do that. And of course, we always have a fair amount of people in the group who do one-on-one consulting, and they also will do your website builds, template builds. You can always post in the group if you're looking for somebody to help you with that. Because there's plenty of people who are really talented in the group. If you're like, I don't want to learn it, I just want somebody to do it for me, that's okay too. People can totally do business in the group. We just ask that no one DM someone in the group who didn't get permission to DM. So we don't want you prospecting in the group, but if somebody said, hey, I need somebody to build out this funnel for me, if you're a funnel builder or a website builder, you can totally say, hey, I do that. Here's a link to my work. Do you mind if I DM you? Totally fine. Which I think a bunch of people have been doing. So perfect. So let me make sure I am rolling. One sec. And I'm going to share my screen and kind of go over some of this stuff. Okay. So the first thing I want to talk about is actual types of funnels. I'm going to share a Google Doc with you guys in the comments. I just put that up into the comments. You guys can save that to your own Google Drive or you can print it. There's lots of different types of sales funnels, and that's what sometimes can be confusing for people. But I always tell people to start out with something really simple. Now, a funnel is essentially a series of web pages or landing pages that take your customer or your prospect or your visitor through a certain sequence. So it takes them through a sequence of pages. It might take them through a sequence of pages, and then you're sending them emails. Your funnel basically funnels them from way up here where they know nothing about you all the way down an actual funnel to be your brand loyal referring customers. Okay. Now, when we're talking about an actual sales funnel that we're building, typically people are referring to series of landing pages that are tied together that take people through a few different landing pages to get to the end goal. So take a look at the doc that I put in the comments. There's lots of different types of sales funnels. Let me share my screen. Okay, So you guys all have a link to this in the comments. Let me know if you don't have access for some reason. There's lots of different types of sales funnels. You don't have to follow any particular order, but these are the most commonly found types of sales funnels that you see. So have you ever seen, like, you're on Facebook and you see some sort of like, hey, download this free thing, and you want that free thing. And so you give them your name and your email on a landing page, and then it automatically redirects you to another page, right? It says, oh, thanks for downloading this. By the way, did you know I have this $20 offer? Or did you know I have this other thing? That's kind of the more common sales funnel that you'll see. And my guess is that a lot of you have been through at some point on some other brand or some other coach or that sort of thing. But you can do sales funnels in a lot of different ways. And so I've included some of those here. Now, you will have some examples of these funnels as templates in your platform. If you don't see those, please let me know. There was a couple weeks they weren't getting loaded correctly, so I can manually load them into your account. Just let me know. But you have all sorts of ways that you can use sales funnels, and some are more complicated than others. But really, one of the big parts of building a funnel is understanding what it is you want somebody who visits that first initial page to do. Okay. So your website serves usually as like a billboard, your general 101 about you, about what it is that you offer. And your funnel pages, your funnels, your sales funnels are the things that actually take the buyer through a journey of actions. We want them to take action. We don't want them to just read about us. We want them to give us their email. We want them to give us their text phone number so we can text them. We want them to book a call. We want them to apply to work with us. We want them to watch a video. We want them to opt in to watch a video. Like, there's a million different options depending on what it is you want your customer to do. So that's the first thing you have to understand is, if somebody new comes to my site, what is it that I want them to do? We don't want them to just read about us. So if we understand what the end goal is for a particular client or customer or prospect, then it's a lot easier to understand what types of funnels or what process we need to build out for them within SIB or within your own backend. So definitely look through these types of funnel, see what kind of makes most sense for you. We try to include just kind of a general like kind of description so you can get an idea. If you read it and it just like sounds like another language to you, skip over it. Don't worry about that one. Look at ones that look simple and that make sense. For most people, what I have them do is start with a squeeze page funnel, and that's what we're going to build today. Now, what is a squeeze page funnel? This is really one of the more common types that you'll see, and especially in the coaching space, because a lot of your coaches, you'll usually see the squeeze page funnel, you'll see the hero funnel. You'll see survey funnels are pretty common. Sometimes you'll see a video sales letter funnel. You'll see a lead magnet funnel. What else? Let's see. Application funnel if it's like a higher ticket service. But the title of the funnel is not what's important. What's important is, again, understanding what you want your customer to do. Now, in our future blueprint classes, we're going to do more strategy around knowing what that kind of process is and how to get the most sales from that process. But this particular training I'm going to do is really more geared towards, you've never built a funnel or you're not sure, or you've built maybe a funnel somewhere else, but like you're kind of struggling to set it up in here. So just FYI. So let's talk about a squeeze page funnel, because those really are kind of the most common and usually simple. So just like the definition says, so you're wanting to generate leads. It's usually 2 pages. It usually has an initial page that garners some interest in whatever it is that you're offering. And they have to give their either email address and their name, or their name and their email, or whatever combination. you want, so they can go into your email marketing system, and then they usually get something or see something in the end. It's similar to a lead magnet funnel, but this is a little bit more kind of broad. So this could cover a lot of different things that you might want to deliver to somebody, whether that's an ebook or a PDF or a Google Doc or whatever it is, a video. You could use a squeeze page for that. So we're going to hop in and make those. Let me pull up also my comments. Because it's not showing on my computer. Let me know if you have comments as I jump into this or questions. And let me know if anybody, I see a bunch of people on the Google shared doc. So I think you guys all have the proper access. You have to save it. So you go to file, and then you can go to make a copy, and then you can save it to your own Google Drive. You can also, if you don't use Google Drive, you can go to download, and then you can save it in any of these formats that you choose. And then you can also print it. You'll have access to this also in the toolkit area. So if you forget about it and need to access it again, you should be good to go. Okay. Okay. Let me mute this and we'll jump in. Okay. So we are in She's in Business. Oh, I'm in the wrong account. 1 second. Let me go to a demo account. Okay, perfect. So this is the SAP demo account. Some stuff's not connected on the back end, but I think everything we need right now will be here. So let's go on into marketing and sites. And if you're doing this with me, even if you kind of feel like you know what you're doing, put me on, put this shared screen kind of like up in a corner somewhere and pull up your platform and follow along with me. You can always go back later. You're not going to break anything. So don't be afraid. It's better to just get your hands dirty. Don't be afraid to break stuff. If you feel like you really did break stuff, I can always load things back into your account. So if you accidentally delete something or whatever, I can usually load it back in. So no big deal. So let's look. So you should have a few different funnel options that have been preloaded into your account. Now, we're building out a really cool little funnel marketplace where you can download different funnels based on the type of funnels, like the style of funnels, that sort of thing. So we're just finishing up the back end setup of that. So you'll be able to actually load these into your account. I won't just be loading funnel templates in forever, but I wanted you guys to have some stuff. But these are some places that you can start. If you've never touched a funnel before, one of the easiest ways is to go to the funnel fundamentals funnel templates. And these are really, really simplified templates that they're kind of easy to understand. They're easy to use. They're not so overwhelming if you're new. So definitely check those out. If you want something to play around with, highly recommend playing around with these. You've got lots of different types of basic landing pages that you can start from, and they're neutral enough that you literally could just change the font out, change the color out, and it's going to look good. You don't have to do stuff from scratch, but today we are going to do stuff from scratch. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a new funnel. So we're going to create a new funnel. We'll do a test. And we're going to add a new step. And so we're just going to do the first one as an opt-in page. And path, we'll put opt-in. You don't have to put anything for that. And we're going to create funnel step. All right. Now we're going to create from blank because we're going to create a brand new one from scratch. Okay. So now we have this blank canvas that freaks a lot of people out if they've never done this before, which That's okay. What I want you to do is just play around with it so you can get the feel of it and get the hierarchy of how things work, and then you can use the template. Okay. I even use templates. I make templates and then I use my own templates to then customize other funnels and websites, because you might as well kind of just use what you've already got, not start from scratch. But I do think that making a little page from scratch is a really good activity if you're learning how to do a funnel. Okay. So the first thing that we have to understand is there's a little bit of a hierarchy of how we build these out. And this is common across most funnel builders, a lot of different website builders. But it is something that kind of freaks people out in the beginning because it seems a little confusing. But I promise once you do it a few times, it becomes like muscle memory and you forget that you were confused. The first time I ever used this kind of editor, which is again, a common funnel type of visual builder, I was also confused, even though I built plenty of websites. So it's just something you kind of have to learn. But the first thing we'll have a basically selection of sections throughout our site. And what I like to think about is what are the main building blocks of of this particular landing page within the funnel that we want to showcase. Like, what do I want my customer to see? And that's usually how I determine how many sections I want. Now, you don't have to overthink this. We're going to do a simple squeeze page funnel. And what we're going to do here is we're going to offer the 22 types of sales funnels as a lead magnet. Okay. We're going to say, hey, if you want to learn about the basics of what types of funnels you can have, give us your name and email, and we're going to give you this list of 22 types of sales funnels. Okay. So we're going to get a little meta here. Now, what do I want my customer to see? They don't know me. They don't know anything about us. They don't really need to know everything about me in particular or the company in particular, because they just need something quickly and they want this thing. Okay. So what I would usually do is start with something that grabs their attention. So I would want something like hey, do you have this problem? You want this thing. It's going to tell you everything that you need to know about different types of sales funnels. And so you can choose the best one for you. Okay. Now I'm making this up as I go along, so don't judge me. I always do this where I make it up as I go along. I'm like, I'm going to do this kind of funnel today. So that way I don't over prep. And you can also watch me make mistakes because I make plenty of them. So the section that I want that top section, which is just enticing them to give me their information. So I go to section, add section. For me, I almost always use full width. I drag this full width box in here. And now I have a section. Anytime I add any sort of a section or a row or a column or a thing, I'll always have options to customize it that will immediately pop up on the left. I have to select whatever I want to edit. And then on the left, I'll have all of my settings. Now, you don't need to do a ton with this. Just think of it as what you want it to look like, especially as you start adding images and text. We're not going to worry about it right now. We're just going to set up our sections. But I want you to see that when you bring in a new section or bring in a new element or anything like that, you'll have something pop up here that allows you to customize the look of it. Okay. So, and then it's really easy to do that stuff. Okay, I'm going to move my Zoom over here. So the next thing I want to do is I want to add a row. I'll add a row, and then it will also prompt me to decide how many columns I want in that row. Okay, again, you just need to do this a couple times, like just repeat it, just make a bunch of rows, and then you'll get kind of used to it. So for a hero type image, a banner at the top, I'll usually start with 2 columns. So I'll do a 2 column, I'll drag it inside of the section, and there we go. Now, then I think of what other kind of section I might want. I might want to do a testimonial section, like, that's just screenshots of people saying, hey, this funnel template or this funnel document is awesome. Okay, so I need another section for that. So I'll just go ahead and add another section below it. See how I'm just dragging it below? And then just for now, I'll just add a row. You can change this later. I'll just add this just one column. And so now I've got section 1 and section 2. That's all we're going to do to start. Okay. Normally, I'd also probably add a third section, which is like a privacy policy and that sort of thing. But that's a whole nother can of worms. So we're just going to start with these two. Okay. So now I'm going to think about, all right, I've got this 2 types of sales funnels, or 22 types of sales funnels document. It's super simple, right? It's just a document with nothing fancy. People will give you their information for this, but that's what I want to talk a little bit about, right? So if my target audience, go back over to the funnel builder, hold on. Sorry, I got multiple screens and my mouse wants to disobey my orders. There we go. So I want to think about how can I entice this person to download what it is that I have. I probably want to hook them in with some sort of text, right? So I want to talk to them about what it is, why they need it. All right. So that's when we start to add elements. So this is the more fun stuff. Once you've got the kind of building blocks, the sections, the rows, the columns, then you can start adding the goods. Okay. So what I want to do here is I'm going to add a headline. So I add an element. So I click add element. Then you'll see on the right side, I have a choice of what kind of default elements I can use. Now, these are all pretty basic and pretty simple. We're going to be adding more fancy stuff to it. Like if you're coming from WordPress, we'll be adding more of those sorts of features like sliders and stuff. But for our purposes, and honestly, 90% of the time, what I even do internally, I don't need too much as far as fanciness. So I'm going to look around. What do I need to bring in? Oh, I need to bring in a headline. So here I see a headline. I click it. Oop. Let me go back so that, because I accidentally clicked it. Element, add element, headline, and then I drag it to where I want it. So there's no rule about where you should put it. It's just where you want to put it. So I'm going to put it here to start. I can always move it later. All right, cool. So now I have my headline. Now I think about what else do I need in that text area of information that's going to help somebody give me their name and email in exchange for getting this list, right? So I'm probably going to want to put some other text. So I would do add element, because in here, in a sub headline, I'll probably put a little bit more information, okay? So let's just start with, and again, I'm making this up from scratch. Do you have a case of funnel confusion? And I'm going to bold that. Do you have a case of funnel confusion? And then in the sub headline, I'm going to do everyone talks about funnels, but no one ever makes it clear what they are or what they do. Okay. And then I'm going to put, I don't know, I'm probably going to put like a little checklist maybe. So I'm going to go to elements, add element. I'm going to go down to a bullet list. I'm going to pull that over. I'm going to put it under here. Then I'm going to add, let's see, I'm going to say, funnels are magical. They can do so many great things for your business. This is awful copy. If we have any copywriters, don't judge me. They can. So then I'm going to list some stuff that it can do. It can automate your sales process, build your email list, attract more ideal clients, catapult your marketing efforts in your sleep. Okay. So I said something about, oh, do you have a case of funnel confusion? I've told them like, hey, like I get it. You have a case of funnel confusion because it's confusing and nobody really ever explains it, but here's what they can do for your business. Now I want to tell them I have this thing to orient you to what a sales funnel is and what types of sales funnels are available. So then I'm going to go into my, see, sometimes you have to kind of move around. I'm going to add another row. So I'm going to go here into the blue. I'm going to go plus. Now remember, anytime I add a row, it's going to ask me how many columns I want. So I'm going to do a 1 column. And here we go. Now I'm going to add a sub headline. Again, I'm just making this up as I go. So you can change anything later. I feel like if you do just like a rough build out first, then you can make it all pretty and how you want it. So that's why we created the 22 types of sales funnels guide for women entrepreneurs. How about for startup women entrepreneurs just like you? Okay. So now what I probably also want to do is give them some sort of visual, like what are they actually downloading? Now we can do that in a lot of pretty different ways. We're just going to do something really simple in this case, but I probably want to just add a picture of like maybe the document, for example. So say I'm going to go over to the document and I'm going to zoom. Yeah, it's not going to let me zoom here. Maybe I can zoom here. Oh, sorry, I'm trying not to let you guys lose the screen share. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I have this cool Chrome extension that lets me take pictures of pages, full pages. Let's see if it'll work on here. But I would just go through and probably screenshot my different pages, and then I would put them in a little Canva graphic and make it cute. Now I wouldn't go too overboard with it. And then I would just make a promotional graphic. I believe there's some in the toolkit if it's live, but that's kind of what I would do. So let's just say I'm going to promote it this way. So let's just do this just for brevity, because okay, so say I made a cute little graphic. Let's pretend. Now I want to add an element. Now I want to add an image because I want to share that like cute promotional screenshot of what they're going to be downloading. Now, remember when I put in an element, I get a left side menu, which allows me to change my settings. I need to add an image. You'll have a place, if you go to image options, you'll see this like little link here. It's just a placeholder image, right? We want to replace that. So what we do is we click on this little image, we go in, and now we upload a file if we don't already have it in there. What'd I do? Oh yeah, I screenshotted it. So I'll go ahead and select that particular image wherever I saved it. And then all of a sudden, so you'll see it come up. I'm going to double click on it. Now, this is not that exciting of an image. So I just want to note that this is just showing you what to do. Okay. So now what I can do is go back and decide, how do I want this to actually look? Because this is kind of, I don't know, it's it. So I can do a lot of different things to each piece of this funnel as far as visuals are concerned. So I'm going to go to section and I say I want to do a color in a section. Okay. I select section. I know I'm on section because sections are green. You get to know that after time, but I can also see that when I've clicked on this, section settings come up. If I had clicked on image settings would come up. So anything you click on will give you the settings over here that you can change. Okay. Now, sometimes you have to kind of play with it. Like if I was trying to get to, like if I was trying to get to this headline, maybe I clicked here, you know, sometimes you have to play with it and just make sure that you've clicked on the right spot, but then you should see it reflected on the left-hand side of what you're trying to edit. So say on this section, I'm going to the section, I'm going to do a background color. Now they don't have my color in here, so I'm going to just, I don't know, select a color. Let's do a peachy pink, not my color, but that's okay. So now I've got that. Awesome. Now I want to kind of figure out like, what else do I need to do to make this a little bit more visually appealing? Now, I don't like things that are all bunched up together. I want to give each of these sections a little bit of room to breathe. So what do I need to do? I need to click on what I want to edit. I get the left-hand side that comes up. Now what I want to do is give it a little bit of padding. So I've got plenty of padding. So think about if you've got some padding around you, your clothes or, you know, your clothes might move out a little bit. I mean, it needs a little more room to breathe. So think of padding as padding, that we want to just create some space around whatever element it is that we're editing. Okay. So I'm in headline settings. I scroll down and here's my padding left, padding right, padding top, padding bottom. So I'm just going to add a little bit of padding on each side just for funsies. We'll do 14. Okay, now I've got this sub headline that I created, and same thing. I see sub headline settings. I'm just going to give it a little room. Again, it's just all what visually appeals to you. Now, when I go to this bullet list, I'm fine with the padding on it, but I feel like the line spacing is a little too close and I want to spread those out because like there's some like nice little line spacing in between here. And then these look kind of crowded. So I select that bullet list. Now for this particular instance, it'll be in advanced and we go to line height and I can change that a little bit. Cool. So I'm gonna keep it like that for now, just to make it simple. Okay. So we've got this. And so say in this section where I was going to make testimonials, but let me delete that for now so we don't get too confused. So if a prospect or lead came to this page, they see this hopefully nicer promotional graphic than I just screenshotted. How do they get it? That's where I think people get hung up, is like, well, now what? I showed them I have this thing for them. I want to get their email and their number or their name and their email, whatever it is. And so what do I do? So that's when the kind of the oh, is it blurry? Vanessa, is it still blurry? Sorry, I just saw that come on. Let me know. Can everybody let me know if this is clear? Because if it's blurry, that would defeat the purpose. So I need to figure it out. I'll keep going and you guys just let me. Okay, all right, just let me know. So then we have to figure out, okay, we've got this thing we want them to opt into, is what we call it. They're opting in. They're giving us their name and their email in exchange for getting this document or this thing that we're offering them. And they know, because we're going to tell them that in our privacy policy, they know that we're going to market to them in the future. Okay. So what do we need to do that? Now, most of you should have some default templates of forms in your system. But if not, don't worry. What we need to have in here is a way to collect their name and email. All right. So let's add another row. And remember, then we add a column. We're going to put this at the bottom just for now. Now, what do we want to do? We technically want to add a form, because a form is what people would enter their information into. Okay. That's the first thing we want to do. Where it's going to go after that, the information, whatever, we're not going to worry about that yet. We just know we need to collect their information, so we need a form. Okay. Now we're going to add an element and see this form over here on the right. We're going to drag it into here. Now it's going to say, no matter what, you don't have any forms yet, because it's going to want you to pick the form. Now, there's a whole form builder in SIB that I'll show you in a minute, but most of you should have a couple standard ones in there that are templated. So just for now, you can select one of those. So I'm just going to do form 1 is what's in here. Let me do another one that's a little less. Contact form, maybe. Yeah, so I'll just do a contact form, but your form can be as long or short as possible. For something like this, where we're just giving them a quick PDF or document or ebook, you might just want to collect their email. So you might just, in the form builder, make this where you're only getting their email, or you might want it where you're getting a name and email, whatever the case is for you. Okay, and then we put that in there. So what happens is they're going to come in, fill out whatever information you're trying to get to them. They're going to submit it. And then for right now, what we're going to think about is, what do we want to happen next on the client facing end? We'll figure out what we want on the back end in a second, but what do we want to happen next? Well, for me, you could just have a little message that comes up and says, we've gotten it, check your email. But the better thing to do would be to give them another page that once they've submitted, they automatically get redirected, or they automatically get sent to a new page. It just loads into their browser where they can see either another offer that you have, or learn more about you, or join your group, whatever the case may be. Because remember, you already decided what you wanted that whole customer journey to be. So we can show them that on the next page. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and save this, and I'm going to go out and show you how we do the second step. So when you save the first time, usually it's going to ask you for SEO metadata. That just means basically title it, even if you've already done it when you were building it. It just wants you to save it, update, and then save again. Usually it should only ask you to do that once. If it keeps asking you to do that over and over again, let us know, because you probably just have a corrupt file. A couple of people have had that. I always just make sure I saved a bunch of times because I'm paranoid. Then I go back. Okay. It's going to take a sec. Vanessa, if you're still on, could you let me know if it's still blurry? I'm not getting all the comments, I don't think. Okay. All right. So here we had our opt-in page. Pretty simple, right? It's not pretty right now, but it's there. And this is exactly how I literally build everything. I start with just the basics. I start building it out, and then I go up back and get fancier. Because if I sat, it's kind of like, you know, in like school, when you would like have to write a really long book report or make a big presentation. If you spent in your first build so much time on that first page, you would never get to the 20th page, right? So a lot of you probably went crazy, typed a bunch of stuff out, just dumped it all into the, into the page or the word processor or whatever. And then you went back and started cleaning it up. Then you went back and started doing spell check, grammar check. Then you went back, you took a day away from it. You came back, hey, does this flow? Does this make sense? Should I put these into chapters or sections or whatever? That's literally how I build even the most complicated funnels and websites that look super high end. I start exactly like this. I don't really even do any padding or anything like that. I build the structure in first, get that set up, then I make it pretty. Because the pretty thing, it will slow you down the most. But if you have all the fundamentals in there, the foundations, it's just a lot easier to then go back and then make it pretty. Or you don't even have to make it that pretty. You just want it to look like clean and professional, right? But you got to have these things. And then I also find that a lot of people, they spend so much time making it pretty too early. And then they're going to end up changing a bunch of big stuff anyway. And then they're going to have to change all of the colors or the flow or whatever anyway. So it's kind of a waste of time. To each his own though, if you have your system, but if you're just starting, that would be my suggestion. So then I would make a second page. Okay. So we're going to talk about the back end, but right now we're talking about what happens for the customer on the front end immediately. So they give us their email and their name or whatever it is you decided you're collecting. Then what we're going to do is we're going to give them a confirmation page. And I usually call them thank you pages. Okay. We're going to create from blank. You can also import funnels now. So if you do have any templates that you like, you can bring them into a current funnel. Okay, so now we've got our blank canvas again. Now, what do I usually want to say on a thank you page? I want them to know, hey, I got your stuff. I got your email. I got your information, whatever it is. And I either want to deliver or give them the thing that they opted into, or I want to show them something else. Okay. Now, there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. My suggestion is usually if it's a lead magnet or, something that you're just giving them a free gift, that you deliver it via email, because it's going to force them to go look for it in their email. It starts to train them, train is probably not the best word, but get them used to getting communications from you in their email. But sometimes people just want them to see whatever it is right away. Like I had this once where it was a backstage pass for, it was our high ticket video production. People would come in for an entire week, stay at this like swanky downtown loft we have. We would shoot inside of the place. They'd get like the red carpet treatment, like drivers. We still have that offer. We don't do it as much right now because we're focused on this. But so what I would do is I would have them opt in to watch the backstage pass. So they would give their name and email. And then they would get redirected straight to a video, which was just a total behind the scenes, like, hey, this is what this week is like with us. This is what you get, a lot of different stuff. I didn't want to send it to their email for that particular use case. Sometimes I want them to go to their email after. So we need to tell them what just happened and what happens next. Okay. So if it's that we want them to watch a video, we put the video on this page. If it's that, hey, we want them to go check their email, we want to tell them that. Okay. So again, we're going to add a section, right? So we have sections, rows, columns, and elements. So we're going to add a section. We're going to pull it here. Now we're going to add a row, which is going to ask us how many columns we want in our row. I'm just going to do one column for now, just for simplicity. Okay, so I've got my one column. Well, now I need probably a headline to tell them thank you. So I'm going to do add element, go headline, pull it over. And then I've got that. And then I'm just going to write whatever I want. Thanks for downloading the 22, what did I call it? Types of funnels guide. You'll see it in your email. Ooh. Oh, how about we're sending it to your email now. If you don't see it within 15 minutes, please email, and then I would put like our email. Because 9 times out of 10, people will go look in their email and then they'll like freak out because like they didn't get it, but it's actually in spam. So if you give them an email address to contact, they're more likely to say like, hey, I didn't get the thing. And then you can say, can you check spam? But then you can open up a conversation and see if it was helpful for them. I'd always much rather somebody email me if they didn't see something, even if it was just as simple as checking spam, because then I have the opportunity to talk to them. So I usually always leave a way for them to contact us. Now, you could just leave it here, but if you've got their attention, because like a lot of people will just have a confirmation page, and that's it, which is fine if you're just building it out, in the beginning and getting used to it. But I always think if I've got their attention for a few seconds, maybe I want them to do something else. So maybe I want them to funnel through to another step. Now, I wouldn't go offer like, just because they downloaded that one little thing, I wouldn't go say, hey, now I want you to do my $50,000 like red carpet video production. Here's the information about it, because that would be a huge jump from what they downloaded. But I might say, hey, I know a lot of you guys have free Facebook groups. I have a free Facebook group where we talk about, funnels and strategy. Would love for you to join. Or maybe it's, hey, I've got this webinar coming up. want to sign up for it. Like it could be anything, but you would want it to be probably another smaller ask, whether it's a free ask or like a low ticket price ask. So sometimes it's just getting them to do the next step. Okay, so then you would add whatever else you wanted in here. You could do a full sales page in here, like a huge, fancy sales page if you wanted. You could just do something small. If you're just learning how to build this, just start with it really, really simple. Okay. So I'm not going to build that out because you can go a million different directions, but just know that that's an option. Okay. So I'm going to save it. And this was what? Thank you page. Update metadata. I'll save it one more time. And then I'm going to go back. Okay. So now this is where I think people get the most hung up. Is then what do we do then? Because yeah, we built these things. So now we know the customer can give us their name and email or whatever information we're collecting. And they know that they're giving us their stuff in exchange for whatever it is that we're offering them. So in this case, it's just a Google Doc of, different types of funnels. We confirmed with them that they are getting it. Oh, I should say, we do want to set up the next funnel step. So one second. So when we do go to opt-in page and we want them to go to thank you page, we need to make sure that the system knows that that's what we want them to do. So I should add that. We'll have to go back and edit it. But when I go to my form and they hit submit, we do need to set up a redirect action. Okay. Now when you made a form, you probably already set one up. I don't set anyone by default usually, but in my funnels always like to make sure the system knows that I want them to go to the next step. Okay. So when they click submit, so I hit the form settings, I go all the way down to the bottom. Redirect action just means what happens. What happens when they hit the button? The button action is they hit the button, then they go to the next step. Okay. So that is one thing I left off. And update metadata. And we go back. Okay. So now we know that the person puts in their name and their email or whatever information you're collecting. They go to then they go to this next page, to the thank you page. But now what happens with them on our end, right? Like, where do they go? What happens? Well, what's cool about SIB is that anytime anybody puts any information into your system on any form and any survey, anything like that, if they've given their information, they will automatically go into your contacts. Okay. Now this is a demo account, so there would be some in here. These are all fake, but they will automatically go into your account. And you would be able to see the activity. So it would list here that they filled out that form, or they opted in for that thing, or they watched something, whatever they did. And their information, whatever information that you were collecting, will show up in here. Okay. Now you can set up a million different things to happen after that, but it's important to know that it automatically goes in there. There's nothing that you need to do. Okay. What you do need to figure out is, okay, so now they're in my contacts. What do I want to happen after that? If you're only doing one squeeze page, that's cool. But like, if you've got a couple different things going on, say you have like a lead magnet, and then you have a book a call, and you have a couple different things happening in your business, what we need to do is find a way to make sure that this Kippy, that we know a little bit more about her, and that maybe we can market to her. So that's where automations come in. Okay. Now the word automations freaks people out, but I promise it's not that bad. We're going to go to marketing and we're going to go to automations. Okay. Now we're going to go to a new workflow, because that's what we're thinking about on the back end. What do we want to happen for us on the back end in SIB, in our CRM, in our system, and our contacts? What do we want to happen? So I usually do a start from scratch, though there's some little recipes if you want to use these, but I'm going to start from scratch. So I hit start from scratch. And then I hit create new workflow again. Okay. Now I'm going to add a new workflow trigger. So basically in this automation, I'm going to say everything that I want to happen after that person gives me their name and email. Okay. We already know they're in our contacts list, so we don't have to touch that. But maybe we want to tag them, basically putting a little reference tag of like, oh, they downloaded the 22 funnels guide. Okay. So that later we can maybe send an email to only people that downloaded that. So let's say we're going to do that. So I'm going to add a workflow trigger, which just means what is the trigger that starts this series of actions that are going to happen for us. And keep these really simple, but you're going to go down here. Order form. So you've got so many choices, which can be really overwhelming. So what I always do is I put in what I want to happen, or what happened to the customer. So in this case, they submitted a form, right? Because we put that form in the landing page. Form submitted, we click that. Now, if I leave it like this just means that any form anyone submits for anything, this series of events is going to happen. And in some cases, that might be what you want. In most cases, you actually want to tell it which form, okay? If you have more than one form. So I went to add filters. I had this come up. I drop this down, and then I'm saying, okay, well, the form is, and I think it was contact form we used. So the form submitted, and the form is the contact form. All right, so this tells the system, this is the contact form. Whenever somebody fills out that contact form, this is what I want to happen on the back end, okay? So for me, I almost always will add a tag, okay? So I go to plus, and now in here I just search, because again, you've got all these options. Most of them, none of you will use, or you won't use right away. So I put tag, okay? And then in here, it'll come up, add contact tag. All right, now, if I have, so say they opted in for a video, awesome. I would select that. For us, it was, the contact opt-in. So you would have your tags in here, and then I would save action. And so now when anybody submits that particular form, the contact is tagged, and we'll always have that in their contact list. So when we go to Kippy's, she would have that tag, and we'd be able to say in the future, okay, I only want to email people with this contact tag because I have this thing that they might be interested in coming up. So I just always add that for the future, so I know where they came from and what they did, and I can easily segment them later as my list grows, okay? Now here is where you would put, say you have emails that you want to send them over time, which is typically part of any funnel, is that you get their information so that you can market to them. And they understand that I'm giving my name and email in exchange for this thing that I wanted. So the 22 funnels guide, and in exchange for continued marketing in the future. Okay. It's a give and take. They can unsubscribe at any time. So like, they're not committed to this for life or anything. They're not, signing in blood, but it's a transaction, even if no money is involved. They're giving something to get something, and you're giving them something so that you can market to them. Okay. So this is where you would put all of your emails. Okay. Any emails that you want to send to them over time. So if you're delivering the thing, whatever it is to them, that's where you would do this in here. So you would add with a plus, and then in search action. So what do I want to do? I want to send them an email. So I'll just type email. I'll click send email. And here I can make a custom email. If you are a little more advanced and have filled out and completed actual email templates in another section, you can always select that however you want to do it. So I'll say from Kate Schnetzer, from my email. Here's your 22 funnels guide. And then I'll say, thanks for downloading. Then whatever else I want to say, here's a link to the Google Doc. And then I can either link it, or I can just do a click here to access the Google Doc. And I'll just link, I can highlight it, press link, put the URL back in there. Okay. You'd probably want to put a little bit more information, but this is just for practice. So then I save action. So they fill out the form. We add a little contact tag just for our reference, and then they get the email with, here's the thing that you gave us your email for. Now, and this is a whole nother strategy piece, but most people would then want to nurture them. So whether that's over the next 2 weeks, you're sending them a series of emails, or you're sending them once a week or every day, whatever it is, everyone has a different strategy, and that's a whole nother topic in and of itself. But we would want to set that up here, ideally, so that everything's kind of in one place for you. We don't want our workflows to get confusing. We just want it super simple, and so you know what's happening. So the thing is, we don't want to send them an email right away because we just sent them this email. So if this email just came through their email box, we probably maybe want to give them a day. Let's use that as an example. Say we're going to send them an email every day for 4 days. I would click plus. And what do I want them? I want this action to wait. So all of these are down here, but so I would say I want to wait 1 day before I send them another email. Wait 1 day, save action. So they're waiting, and you can label these too if it's helpful. Wait 1 day. Now I want to send them a second email. So again, it's right up here, but just so we get in the habit of it, search action, email. I want to send them an email. Perfect. Now I'm sending them an email. Same thing. Don't use the subject hey there for your marketing. And now I can say, hey, thanks for, thanks for downloading the guide. And then maybe I say, I'm talking about funnels generally, or I'm giving them some value or whatever your strategy is, which again is a different training, you would put in here and then save action. And then you can do that for as many emails as you want. Now, if you're doing a big email blast, like once a month or, once every other week that you're sending to all of your list, you don't need to put those in here. You don't need to set those up as workflows because it's going to go to everybody anyway. These are specifically directed to the people who took this original trigger action. Okay, so it has intent. We had the intent to take them through a series of landing pages. So that original opt-in page, then to the thank you page. Then we told the system, hey, when somebody does that, this is what I want to happen on the back end, on my end, on the SIB end, so that I can further market to them. Okay. So the thing with workflows is you always need to publish them. So it is actually a really good default because it won't automatically have a bunch of automations live if you're just learning. So if you're confident with this automation and how the workflow is, I would name it. Everybody, you can name it whatever you want, but I would do contact form submitted, and this is how I do mine. Tag added, delivery, and then nurture sequence. And then save. Oh, we need to publish, sorry. Publish and then save. Workflow has been saved. Perfect. Okay, so now we've got that. That's literally it. Like, that's it. The only other thing that you would need to do if you don't have any forms or you want to collect certain information is to go and make a form. So you would go to marketing, sites, forms, and form builder, and you can create whatever form that you want in here. And then you would just go back to that original landing page and select the form that you created. That's it. That's a basic funnel and how to build them. What I would suggest, because I know this can be overwhelming, is to just do one piece at a time. If you've never done this in any system or or just don't feel comfortable yet, just do one at a time. Go make one section with a headline element and an image. Just get used to it, right? For everything else, use one of the templates. If you need to have something live, like in the next week or two for your clients, go ahead and use a template, all right? There are tons of templates that you can use in here, and then you can just plug in your own information. The easiest ones, again, it's the Funnel Fundamentals funnel template is the easiest one, okay? You've got all of these different kinds. You've got just a general home, you've got an opt-in, you've got a longer sales page, and you just go in. Don't worry about styling it. It already looks professional. You can change your colors and put in there what you want. If you need something that goes live really quick, and in the meantime, you can be working on learning more about customizing based on what you want. A lot of people never do anything but use funnel or but use templates. That's the whole point of funnels, really, is that most people's websites will be really big and voluminous and fancy. And then your funnels are meant to be, after a while, where you can quickly put them up, right? Because you're going to have lots of different offers and you're going to try different things the longer you're in business. And if it takes you a month to build out one funnel and then that funnel doesn't perform well, like a lot of, the conversion rate on it is low, like people aren't downloading it or whatever, then you've just wasted so much time. So the idea is that you get really fast with building these out, and usually it's using a template. Okay. And to use a template, you would just do it the same way. You just go in. So say it's the opt-in. So we're going to use the same example. We'll go to edit page. And then I would just put in any of the information that I wanted. I even put like some little tells you kind of what information to put, and then I would just replace them. If I don't need a section, so like maybe I don't want this section, I just select it and I go to this little trash button over here on the right and delete it. Okay. If I don't need it, I do this all the time. Like this is literally how I start making stuff. There's no point in reinventing the wheel. And then I would just go in just like I did when I was building it from scratch, change the headline. If I want to change the background color, I click, remember, on the section, I go to background color, pink. It's awful pink in my opinion. If I want to change this picture, I select the picture, I go down. There's my awful promo picture again. I put that in. So you can easily just plug in what you need. Okay. And then you would just, if there's a form section, you just select the form that you made to collect the information. So a lot of it is just understanding, one, what you want the customer to see and the actions you want them to take. And then knowing what the basic actions are that you need to happen in your system to be able to further market and sell to those people. That's it. It doesn't have to be super complicated when you're first starting. Just start working on it and getting it up. The other thing I'm going to start doing, I'm working on getting them scheduled and coordinated, is I want to do hands-on Zoom workshops where we do a 3 to 4 hour block. Everybody makes a lead magnet funnel, and we do it hands-on where you're watching me, you're following along, but then you can come on like, hey, Kate, I'm stuck. I can bring you on to share your screen. I can walk you through doing whatever you're stuck on, or I can take remote control if necessary to fix it. And then we all learn together in kind of a hands-on way. If you would like something like that, please let me know in the comments and what you think the best workshop would be for you right now. Because I do want to start getting those scheduled out. I think some of the hands-on would help, and the ability to be on Zoom with me, I think would be really good. And I would do like small pods of people, but we would say, hey, in 3 hours from now, we're going to have all of these done across all of our accounts, anybody who's on it. So if that's of interest to you, let me know in the comments. I'm going to check on questions real quick. Natasha would love that workshop. Awesome. Deborah, yes, I know 3 or 4 hours at a stretch would be difficult. I'm almost thinking about doing like some off hours, but then make them into like individual modules as well. We're going to have to play with it. I would like to just have a few that run throughout the month. so that you can sign up when it makes sense. And even if you can only come on for an hour or two and then hop off and then come back to the replay, I just think that I can teach these all day long and it will help some people, but I know, like, for me, I'm much more of a hands-on person. So like when I'm learning something new that's the biggest disadvantage of all-in-one type of solution, like a software like this, is there's just so many custom options, which it's good if you're advanced, but when you're first starting, it just can be so overwhelming. And just, I think building it hands-on with somebody, even if you can't stay the entire time, but getting going, and being able to troubleshoot live and ask questions, even if you think this is probably a stupid question. Sometimes they're the best questions, and it's hard to do that without kind of being in a hands-on pod. So I am working on those. We'll try it in a couple different ways. Maybe we'll do a couple mini ones, hey, it's every day at 9 o'clock for the next 4 days, just from 9 to 10. And maybe we'll do a batch one. I'll probably do a poll in the group and you guys can give me your feedback. A couple hours would be doable. How do we connect the funnels to make them live? Yeah. Oh, good question. Let me show you one sec. Just making sure I didn't miss any other questions. Oh, everybody's asking if you can watch it again later. Yeah, I keep them in the group until they're edited. This one I won't edit because this is just more of this isn't an official She's Backstage, but normally for the She's Backstages, we're a little backlogged on editing, but we will edit them and put them in the She's in Business TV in your platform. We're just a little backlogged. So I leave them in Facebook until that's done. So you always have access to them. Okay, how to connect funnels to make them live. So let me show you guys how to do that. Have you guys made your onboarding session booking? Because the one thing that you have to have in order to make them live is to have your domain hooked up to the system. If you know how to do that, you can certainly do it on your own. It's pretty easy, but it can be overwhelming if you've never done it before. It's a little intimidating. So we have an onboarding specialist who will hook it up for you. You just have to book one of those onboarding sessions. You don't have to show up to that onboarding session. It's not like a meeting. It's literally you just need to be available for 15 minutes so we can get access to your accounts, because it'll send you, if I try to access your hosting account here, it's going to make me get a verification from you. So you just need to be available. And we can do that on the back end. But let me show you, if you've done that, what that looks like. And I think I hooked, if I need to switch over accounts, one sec. I'm going to switch over to ours because I don't know that I hooked up a domain to this one. Okay. All right, so let me go over to my funnels again. So here are my funnels. I'm in a different account now, so they'll probably look a little bit different, but it's all the same. If you're not sure if your domains are hooked up, let me just show you where to check. So if you go down to settings at the bottom and then go to domains. Sorry, my Wi-Fi is really slow. You should have at least 1 or 2 domains linked in here. If you don't, that means you either need to do it yourself or make an onboarding session appointment so we can help you. Okay. Because we do, basically, you've bought a domain somewhere. Maybe it's GoDaddy or HostGator or Namecheap or whatever. And you have to tell that registrar, is what they're called, that provider, that, hey, when somebody goes to she'sinbusiness.org, I want them to go to this funnel or this website. So the first thing is to direct them to the SIB platform in your domains, but there's some settings that you have to change in your domain registrar. And I know that can be intimidating for people. So make your onboarding session. If you've done that, then you can hook up your funnels. But the first thing that you want to do is go to your domains. You go to your little edit button here, which is a little pencil. And just by default, you make it your default page. So whether it's in your website section or your funnel section, you select, like when somebody goes to she'sinbusiness.org, that's it. That's what they go to. I want them by default to go to the She's in Business business.org/home, which is an internal page of ours. Okay. That's the first thing you want to do, is to hook it up there. You can use them on different pages, but that's the default page if they only put that in. So that's the first thing you want to do. You're going to go back. You're going to go back to your funnels. And this one I did on a website, these are all the same concepts. So if I go to my She's in Business website, to home, which is where I want people to be able to go, in here, I go to settings. And this is the same thing for funnels. And I select the domain that I want. Okay. So same thing for funnels. I say this is done. So when I have my member processes landing pages, some of you might have seen some of these. I want to go into settings, select the domain. Now, this is how we know what link we're going to send them to. If we want them to go to the entire funnel, the first, we can go to ksmstudios.com in this case. That's where the path comes in. Path/process landing pages. This can be anything. It could be book a call about me, whatever. If we want them to go to a particular page, so like this is our membership cancellation page. I don't want to show any of you this, but that's okay. I can go and I can pull it from here if I just want them to go to that. So say you only wanted to send them to a particular page in your funnel, you can send them directly to that step inside of your funnel. But if you go to settings and you pull it from here, or they just go to that domain, they'll just go to the first step in your funnel. Okay. And you just need to make sure that it says live, and then that you have a domain selected. Okay. Let me know if that makes sense. So you can also preview it this way. So you go to this little guy here. And so you can preview it and make sure it looks good. And then you can look up here. Oh, is this correct? Okay, cool. And then you can say, okay, here's the link for this. I keep like a little Google spreadsheet of all of the links I use a lot, because I'm never going to remember what this is. So like I have just a Google sheet that's like member cancellation form. Here's the link. Member onboarding form. Here's the link. So I don't have to like go check it every time. But that's basically how you do it. Let me know if a couple of people had asked that. Let me know if that answered your question. Okay, a couple of you aren't seeing all the funnels. I'll do a post and tag you on it to figure out what's going on with that. And okay, Melissa wants to know, do I just make different subdomains on my main domain to add to the platform? Do I need more than one domain on platform? Okay, so let's talk about domains really quick, because they can be confusing. Okay, say you bought, I'm just going to use the she'sinbusiness.org example. I purchased she'sinbusiness.org. All right. Let me type it out. I'm like a visual hands-on person, so I need to like explain this in a more let's just do this. Okay. So there's two types of domains in each domain that you buy, right? There's a root domain, is what they're called, which is just whatever it is. How do I spell this? Or it would be yourwebsite.com, not www.she'sinbusiness. I need more coffee, you guys. Not www. It's just, what's your root is your she'sinbusiness.org or your melissa.com, whatever it is, right? Then you have, and Bliss, you might know this, I'm just kind of orienting people if they're not sure, because it is a little confusing. Then you have your subdomains. Now, most people assume that a www.she'sinbusiness.org because everybody kind of knows that, oh, we put www.in for a main website. But this is technically a subdomain. So you have to tell the system, you have to connect two technically separate domains. You have to connect the root domain. You need to connect the subdomain of www. And there's a couple different ways to do that depending on who you bought it from. Then if there's any other subdomains that you want, so like say you have a course and you want like courses.she'sinbusiness.org or whatever your website is, or you have members.she'sinbusiness.org. There's no additional cost to connect those. If you do bring those in that domain setting that I showed you, you would just need to go then into the particular funnel or the particular membership area to connect those. But these are definitely required and what you definitely need to bring in. Now, if you're only planning on using this root domain and this subdomain, like most businesses, then where you're directing people after that through your funnels is through your paths. Okay. So your path is a /path. And this is good to understand no matter what platform you're in. These are pretty standard concepts. So definitely, I know it can be a little confusing at first, but definitely get used to them. So then your path is this. So like for us, just even under our She's in Business, so we have our she'sinbusiness.org. We have our www.she'sinbusiness.org. All right, so these are our primary. We've set those up by default. If you put either of those in, you should go to that particular homepage that we've designated. But then we have lots of other things going on. So we have like she'sinbusiness.org /book a call, which is like a call booking page. I don't know if that's actually it. It's probably not. Again, I have to have a cheat sheet. We have a she'sinbusiness.org, member onboarding, etc. So most of the time when you do something in our like in our websites and our funnels, you'll still be under she'sbusiness.org. The path here is what's telling the system which page you're supposed to be looking at. Okay. Let me know if that makes sense, Melissa. I don't know if that was a clearer explanation or it might be more confusing. Let me know. But no, the only subdomain you have to bring in, and I wouldn't even say you have to, most people will have to bring in is the www. And then your other subdomains, it's just a matter of preference. If you want different sections, what you want to do is be customizing the paths. And where you find those is, so you can look in here. So say this is onboarding. I go to publishing and I can change the step path here. Okay. Publishing, change the subpath here and update step. So now anytime somebody goes to ksmstudios.com/process landing pages, they'll go by default to whatever the first step is here. But if for some reason I want to only send them, I want to make sure that they only go to a particular step. I go to publishing. If I want to change the path here, membership cancellation, update step. And then I have it here. Okay. For most of you, if you have a funnel that's all connected and they're going through sequential steps that you've set up and intended for them to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then all you need to do is pull this particular domain and path. I mean, if that makes sense. We might need like a domain anatomy 101. What other questions do we have? I know this is a lot at one time. Don't worry. We're going to be doing some workshops. I don't know if Melissa's still, I don't know. I can never see if my my live streams, here we go. Looking for my comments. There we go. My internet is dying. Can everybody see me? My internet is dying. All right. Well, let me know if you guys have any more questions. I can't even tell if I'm still alive. So let me know if you have any more questions. I'll circle back and answer it. I'm going to go put a poll in the group in the next hour to get some more feedback on our workshop plan. Because I do want to make sure that it's something that can help everybody and that everybody's, because I can guess what I think people need, but like any business owner, you always want to find out what people actually need from their own perspective. So I'll go put that in the next hour. So please go vote on that. And if you have not made your onboarding session appointment, please look for that email. If you don't see it, let me know because we can hook up some of that domain backend stuff that's kind of confusing. But let me know if you have any questions. I'll circle back and everybody have a great day. And don't forget, tomorrow is She's Networking at, I think it's 10 a.m. Central, but check the calendar just to be sure. All right. See you guys later.